we are why we are selected all these topics, because of our students are got only the theory knowledge in the colleges, but what about the practicality, practical practice of the courts? Because if there is no proper advocacy skills, you are unable to succeed your life in profession. So that is one of the lacuna which is happening in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, because from first year onwards, when I became a head of the department, I introduced internship from first year onwards. So last year onwards, we have started first internship for all the students. Why we have started? Because of they have to go to the court of law and study the cases and the procedural law of the lower court and high court as well as the Supreme Court. So that is the only reason is that reason is that we are we want to do some online workshop regarding the practical knowledge. The first day, Judge Bhavani, who is working as a lower court judge in the Kalvakurti, so she explained well. There is a lot of demand. Once again, people are demanding Bhavani's lecture, because she's a good judge as well as a advocate. She's a teacher also. So that is the reason she has knowledge in three aspects. One is practical knowledge, another one is theory part. So that is the reason, even because of the lack of time, we didn't learn the civil procedure of law in the lower courts. Only yesterday she told about the criminal procedure code. So once again I will conduct the lecture, online workshop lecture from Judge Bhavani. And also I yesterday High Court lawyer, senior lawyer, and Bar Council member, National Bar Council member Vishnu Vardhan Reddy has given elaborately explained about the procedural civil and criminal law of the High Court system. And because it is appellate court, where it is not a argument court. Basically all the procedure will be there at the lower courts only. So that is the reason even high courts are known as a state level constitutional courts. But there is a lot of it is appellate authority. It is the basic source for writing protection of fundamental rights is the high court. Under 226, but we have the lot of writ jurisdiction to protect our rights. He explained well. So today the Supreme Court procedure of the Supreme Court, especially even regarding the writs under Article 32, the limitation is low. But even though it is an apex court, all the courts of India should be bound by the Supreme Court judgments. So that is the reason. So there is a one of the senior most advocate from Supreme Court, Nitin Meshram, because he has gone to his hometown and got some corona characters. So that is the reason he is there in at his hometown, at village. Now I requested my student, Dr. D.V. Rao. He is from Andhra Pradesh. He is good advocate. He is a dynamic advocate and also a dynamic speaker. He has his own YouTube channel. He also spoke about the practice and the practice of in Supreme Court and the procedural of the Supreme Court in various YouTube channels. So he's a good a lawyer, as well as he also a member in the New York court, advocate as a enrolled as a New York advocate bar. So he's having reputation in US also. He arguing the cases in the US also in some on behalf of the other senior advocates there. So he is having vast experience because of maybe since 10 to 15 years he's working in the Supreme Court. So I request our beloved student Dr. D.V. Rao Garu, and please explain, because of the COVID-19, it is affected entire world and also entire systems, including the higher judiciary. So what we have to follow, how to file the cases in the higher judiciary, what is the practice? what is the methodology, what is the procedure of law are practicing in the Supreme Court of India? Please kindly explain, sir. Explain about the procedure, law of the land of the Supreme Court, the apex court, which is the constitutional court, the ultimate authority of the Supreme Court. I request my student, my beloved friend, Dr. D.V. Rao, please proceed, sir.
Sure,
Proceed
sir.
on the topic. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. D.V. Rao, practicing advocate of Supreme Court. My sincere thanks to my teacher as well as the director of Osmania Law Department, Dr. Gali Vinod Kumar, for giving this opportunity to me to share my experience with the would-be legal experts of India. So, my presentation shall be as first, who are the advocates can file the petitions before the Supreme Court? Means every advocate can file petitions before the Supreme Court, or there shall be any procedure or eligibility to the advocates to either argue or to file before the Supreme Court. And the second one, what type of applications or the petitions can be filed or moved before the Supreme Court of India. And the third one, the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court and various kinds. And the fourth one, format of special leave petition as well as the review petition, means how we can prepare the special leave petitions or how the petitions before the Supreme Court shall be. Like that, I will explain, followed by the interaction at the end. So, if you are interested, my suggestion is please take a book as well as a pen to note down the important points or the key points which shall be useful to you for your future examinations. So, first one, I need not tell you, if you complete LLB degree, means the person who completes LLB degree is eligible to start his practice at any court of India. For that, he should follow the procedure that is known as enrollment at Bar Council of the respective state. After that, means at the time of this enrollment, he must give an affidavit or undertaking that he will clear the All India Bar Examination within 6 months of time. Once the law graduate who completed his LLB degree as well as who completed his enrollment at the Bar Council and who completed his All India Bar Examination shall become as an advocate, means will get the complete eligibility to start his practice at various courts of India, including the Supreme Court of India, according to Section 30 of the Advocacy Act. That I no need to tell more about on that. But actually, if any advocate is interested to start his career in the Supreme Court of India, there is a procedure, means all advocates who clears the All India Bar Examination or who has completed his enrollment at Bar Council of the respective state is not, that is not only the eligibility to start his practice at Supreme Court of India. For that, what is the procedure? Means how to become as an advocate of the Supreme Court. Every year, Supreme Court of India conducts one examination in the name of Advocates on Record. This examination will be conducted in the month of June every year, and the notification will be released by the Supreme Court in the month of April. And this examination will be conducted only in the compound of the Supreme Court. Then, who are eligible to write this examination or who are eligible to appear this examination means any advocate who has an experience of 5 years at bar, including 1 year training at advocate on record with 10 years experience, is eligible to appear for this advocate on record examination. So, if an advocate has 5 years of experience at bar, as well as if he complete 1 year training at advocate on record with 10 years experience, he is eligible. So that those advocates can enroll with the registry of the Supreme Court to appear for this advocates on record examination. This advocate on record examination shall be conducted on 4 papers. First paper is practice and procedure of the Supreme Court. See, the advocate who is going to write the examination of AOR examination is to start his practice at Supreme Court. But how can he know the practice and procedure of the Supreme Court? Why the Supreme Court is conducting this examination means on the paper of practice and procedure of the Supreme Court means it is to test the aptitude of the advocate to start his career at the Supreme Court of India. How much interest he has, really he has worthy to start his career at the Supreme Court or not. Whether he is starting his career to put his sincere effort in the Supreme Court or not, like that, to test the aptitude of the advocate to start his career in the Supreme Court, the first paper shall be conducted on practice and procedure of the Supreme Court for 100 marks. And the second one is, means the second paper is drafting. Means before starting the practice at the Supreme Court, you have to know about the petitions and the drafting. How many petitions shall be moved before the Supreme Court? How the petition shall be prepared? What are the necessary things to be placed in the petitions? What are the annexes to be enclosed along with the petitions? Like that, everything the advocate who is interested to start his practice in the Supreme Court must know. So, the Supreme Court shall conduct the second paper of this advocate on record examination on the paper drafting. And the third paper is on advocate and professional ethics. See, this is very noble profession. Means, if a person is being termed as an advocate, he must know his duty towards the court, as well as he must know his duty towards the society and towards the colleagues and towards the clients. So, as well as what are the professional ethics, he must know. Then only he is eligible to start the practice as an advocate. At the time of enrollment as an advocate, the Bar Council will provide you one book, and in that book, all the professional ethics shall be incorporated. And all the details also available in that book. That is known as Rules of Bar Council of India as well as Bar Council of the respective state. So the third paper is advocate and professional ethics. And the last paper is leading cases. That is the fourth one. If you are going to start your career at the Supreme Court of India, first you must know about the leading cases held by the Supreme Court of India or decided by the Supreme Court of India. Then you can get complete knowledge about what type of argument submitted by the other side, means opponent, as well as what type of arguments you have to submit before the court to satisfy the judges, those who are going to decide your case, as well as what type of grounds and what type of legal positions are required to you to get the order in your favor. To learn all these things, you have to follow the leading cases held by the Supreme Court. So, to become as an advocate on record exam, advocate on record of the Supreme Court will conduct the advocate on record examination on these 4 papers. The minimum marks you have to score in each paper is 50%, but aggregate is 60%. So, to become as an advocate on record at the Supreme Court, you must score 60% of the marks, means to more than 240 marks out of 400. Then only you will be declared or announced as the advocate on record for the Supreme Court. What is the difference between the advocate on record and the other advocate? Means no other advocate except the advocate on record can file or move the application before the Supreme Court of India. But what about the appearance, means arguments? Other than the advocate on record, any advocate, including the senior advocate, with the consent of the advocate on record, can submit their arguments before the Supreme Court. Before the Supreme Court means no designated senior advocate can file any petition in his name, because that is the rule of the Bar Council of India. So every senior advocate must file his petition or application through the junior advocate in other courts except Supreme Court. But in the Supreme Court, even the senior advocate must file either the petition or the application through the advocate on record only. So, before knowing the practice and procedure at the Supreme Court, you have to know that which advocate shall practice at Supreme Court of India. So, first of all, you have to get the knowledge about the advocate on record examination to start your career at the Supreme Court of India. And the second one, what type of cases can be moved or what type of applications can be moved before the Supreme Court of India? Because you know that Supreme Court of India is a court of records. So its jurisdiction is wide. Not only appellate or not only the original, it has different types of jurisdiction. Before entering into the jurisdiction, I will share with you what type of petitions can be moved before the Supreme Court of India. You can move civil appeals before the Supreme Court of India, as well as you can move the criminal appeals before the Supreme Court of India, as well as you can move the statutory appeals before the Supreme Court of India. I will explain everything in detail after this. Means what type of cases shall be treated as the civil appeals and what type of cases shall be treated as the statutory appeals. Like that, I will give the detailed explanation. Before that, what type of applications or the petitions can be filed before the Supreme Court of India means, first one, civil appeals, second one, criminal appeals, as well as statutory appeals, and the fourth one is original suits, and the fifth one is special leave petitions, and the sixth one is transfer petitions, and the seventh one is petitions related to the election of President of India as well as Vice President of India, and the petitions related to the arbitration and writ petitions as well as public interest litigations, and Supreme Court can decide the petitions referred by His Excellency President of India as well as His Excellency Governor of the respective states. And also you can file contempt petitions before the Supreme Court of India as well as review petitions before the Supreme Court of India, and finally, latestly, you can move or file curative petitions before the Supreme Court of India, which was introduced recently by the Supreme Court of India. So these many petitions you can move before the Supreme Court of India, or you can file before the Supreme Court of India under its jurisdiction. So the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is very wide. Many advocates at the means when they are students at the stage of LLB don't know the wide jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, because it is the practical knowledge. Simply they will feel that Supreme Court means the cases which were dismissed at the High Court, those only can move to the Supreme Court. No, not like that. These many petitions can be moved before the Supreme Court of India. So first one, the examination named advocate on record is over. And the second one, types of petitions moved before the Supreme Court is over. Now the third one is jurisdiction and different types of jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. You see, I will explain you the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court on the board because it is essential also. The jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is very wide because it is the court of record. It is court of record. So there are different types of jurisdiction for the Supreme Court is there. First one is appellate jurisdiction. Appellate jurisdiction. And the second one is extraordinary appellate jurisdiction. Extraordinary appellate jurisdiction. And the third one is original jurisdiction. And the fourth one is extraordinary original jurisdiction. And the fifth one is advisory jurisdiction. And the sixth and the last one is inherent or plenary jurisdiction. Plenary jurisdiction. So the jurisdiction of Supreme Court classified as 6 categories. Those are, first one is appellate jurisdiction. Appellate jurisdiction means Article 132, Article 133 and Article 134 explains you about the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Under this jurisdiction, you can file civil appeals, and you can file criminal appeals, and you can file statutory appeals. What is the difference between the civil appeals as well as the criminal appeals as well as the statutory appeals means? Generally, under the appellate jurisdiction, if any case, whether it is a civil or it is a criminal, dismissed by the High Court of the respective state, and if you agreed by the order or judgment passed by the High Court, you have liberty to approach the Supreme Court under this appellate jurisdiction. But for some of the cases, you can file the appeal only on the certificate given by the High Court of respective state to file the appeal. And in some of the cases, Parliament has made some acts. In those acts, the liberty is given to you to move the Supreme Court directly. Because why such provision is provided means, generally you know that either the civil case or the criminal case, first you have to file it before the lower court. If you are not satisfied with the order passed by the lower court, then you have to move the High Court by way of first appeal. If you are not satisfied with the order passed by the High Court, then you have to move to the Supreme Court by way of the second appeal. But here, in the statutory appeals means, you take National Green Tribunal. First, you can file a petition or application before the National Green Tribunal. If you agreed by the order passed by the National Green Tribunal, you need not go to the High Court. You can directly challenge the order passed by the National Green Tribunal before the Supreme Court of India under Section 22 of the National Green Tribunal Act. However, you take NHRC. First, you can move an application before the NHRC. If you did not satisfy with the order passed by the NHRC, then you can move to the Supreme Court directly without going to the High Court. As well as Armed Forces Tribunal. You can move if it is a service matter and you are the army personnel. If for any dispute related to your service, you can move to the Armed Forces Tribunal. As well as if you are not satisfied with the order passed by the Armed Forces Tribunal, then without going to the High Court, means by bypassing the High Court, you can directly move to the Supreme Court. As well as, that is NCDRC also, National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. First, you can move to the NCDRC or SCDRC. If the case is decided by the SCDRC, then you can move to the High Court or to the NCDRC. If the case is decided by the NCDRC, you need not go to the High Court, you can directly move to the Supreme Court. All these types of appeals are known as statutory appeals. So, under the appellate jurisdiction, you can file the civil appeals as well as you can file the criminal appeals and you can file the statutory appeals. But for the civil appeals or the criminal appeals, either the certificate by the High Court is required or you have to seek the leave from the Supreme Court to file the appeal. Means, if the cases are related to the writ petitions, you cannot go directly by way of appeal. And High Court will not give you any certificate to go for appeal. At that time, you have to move the Supreme Court by way of special leave petition. These special leave petitions comes under the extraordinary jurisdiction. And Article 136 explains you about this extraordinary appellate jurisdiction. So, if you have to file the appeal before the Supreme Court, if the case is decided by the High Court and you agreed by the order passed by the High Court, you have to move to the Supreme Court either on the certificate provided by the High Court or by way of special leave petition under extraordinary jurisdiction. And the third one is original jurisdiction. This is very important because you know that for the enforcement of fundamental rights, you can move either to the High Court under Article 226 or you can move the Supreme Court directly under Article 32. So, what is the difference? Can you file each and every writ petition before the High Court? Otherwise, when you have to move, because very frequently we are seeing in all the leading newspapers as well as in the TV channels that some of the persons file the writ petition or the public interest litigations before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court redirected them to go and file the same before the High Court. Why such practice is happening? Whether the advocate don't know. So this is the knowledge you have to gather before your practice at the Supreme Court of India. So here, under the original jurisdiction, what type of cases you can file? Means, I will tell you, under original jurisdiction, you can file suits. Means, if the suit or the matter is between the Union of India as well as more than two states of India, then suits can be moved or filed before the Supreme Court of India under Article 131. This is very important. If the issues means what type of suits, that those are between the Union of India as well as two or more than more states, means many issues shall be treated and comes under these suits. Those are, first one, irrigation issues, means water issues, as well as the financial issues, as well as the distribution of powers issues, as well as the unnecessary involvement of Union of India in the matters of the states. Like that, many issues are there. So, under the original jurisdiction, under Article 131, you can move suits before the Supreme Court of India if those issues are between the Union of India as well as more than two states of India. And the transfer petitions. Second one is transfer petitions. You see, you are staying in one of the states of India, but the case or a criminal case or an FIR or something else, even at the last, the family matters, means divorce matters, filed by the husband or the wife at the another state. You cannot go to that state frequently or you to appear before the court. Then what you have to do? Because the High Court has the jurisdiction only in that respective state. So for the transfer petitions, you can move the Supreme Court under original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court of India, as well as the petitions related to the election of President of India as well as Vice President of India. See, actually we know that executive and the legislature as well as the judiciary are three independent organs. No organ should encroach other borders. But actually, if there is any dispute, only the judiciary has power to encroach the border of the other organ. So, if there is any issue is related or pertaining to the election of President of India as well as the Vice President of India, then the same can be challenged before the Supreme Court of India under the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. So all these type of cases comes under Supreme Court of India under its original jurisdiction under Article 131. Now the next one is extraordinary original jurisdiction. What is this extraordinary original jurisdiction means? Already I told you, under Article 226, you can file the writ petition before the High Court. At the same time, you have liberty to file writ petition before the Supreme Court of India also, under the extraordinary jurisdiction of the Supreme Court under Article 32. Then what is the difference? If the enforcement of fundamental rights is related to one state and which comes under the jurisdiction of the only one High Court, you can move the respective High Court for the enforcement of fundamental rights under Article 226. But if the same is related to two states, then you have two options. That you have to file the writ petitions before the two High Courts, or you can move to the Supreme Court and you can file the writ petition under Article 32. That is the difference between the enforcement of seeking enforcement of fundamental rights through writ petition before the High Court as well as the Supreme Court. This is the difference. However, under this extraordinary jurisdiction, you can file the public interest litigations also. Public interest litigations also. So, here also there is some difference. If you want to file the public interest litigation and the matter is concerned to the only one state, you have to file that public interest litigation before the concerned High Court under Article 226 only. But if the same is related to the entire India or more than one state, then you have to file that public interest litigation before the Supreme Court under Article 32. Then what is the difference between these two, writ petition as well as the public interest litigation? If the fundamental rights of the petitioner are affected, and the person means the petitioner who is approaching the respective court, means either the High Court or the Supreme Court, to seeking enforcement of fundamental rights for himself, or to challenging the effect of his fundamental rights, then that petition is called as writ petition. If the same person who is filing the writ petition in the interest of the public other than himself, if there is no private interest or personal interest, if he files that writ petition in the interest of the society or in the interest of the public, that writ petition shall be called as public interest litigation, or that is called as public interest litigation, and that writ petition shall be treated as public interest litigation. This is the difference between original jurisdiction and the extraordinary original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. And the next one is advisory jurisdiction. What is this advisory jurisdiction? I already explained you about the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court as well as the extraordinary appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, and I explained you about the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, and I explained you about the extraordinary original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Now the fifth one is advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. You see, this advisory jurisdiction means no citizen can file petition before the Supreme Court under the advisory jurisdiction except the President of India as well as the Governor of the respective state if the matter is pertaining to the Right to Information Act for the governors. And for the President of India means he can referred any matter to the Supreme Court of India under the advisory jurisdiction to get advice of the Supreme Court. Means, if for the removal of members of the Public Service Commission also, as well as if the center makes any acts in the parliament, or if the parliament enacted any acts, and for the approval of the President of India, if such act placed before the President of India, before signing or before granting the approval, the President of India can seek the advice of the Supreme Court of India by way of referring that matter to the Supreme Court of India, and the Supreme Court of India can give advice to His Excellency President of India under its advisory jurisdiction. Under its advisory jurisdiction. However, the matters related to the income tax also, the President of India has liberty to take the advice of the Supreme Court under the advisory jurisdiction. Recently, in 2010, the governor of any state also can refer the matter which is related to the Right to Information Act to the Supreme Court for the advice of the Supreme Court under its advisory jurisdiction. That is coming to the fore since 2010 after the enactment of the Right to Information Act. This is the fifth one, and the last one is inherent or plenary jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. What is this inherent or plenary jurisdiction of the Supreme Court? I will explain you. You see, already I told you, as well as you know, that Supreme Court is court of records and the highest court in the country. So, if there is any wrong done by the legislature, the courts are there, including the High Court at the respective states, to correct it. As well as if the executive has done any wrong, the same can be corrected by the respective High Courts in the states. If the judiciary has done any legal wrong, then how it is to be corrected? Means, if you are not satisfied with the order passed by the High Court at the respective states, the Constitution of India has given liberty. It is not only the liberty, it is your right to challenge the order passed by the High Court before the Supreme Court of India, which is the highest court of India. So, under the inherent as well as the plenary jurisdiction, what type of petitions you can move before the Supreme Court means, you can move contempt cases under Article 129. As well as you can file review petitions under Article 137. As well as you can file curative petitions before the Supreme Court. So, what are these contempt cases? Contempt cases means, if Supreme Court pass an order either for the enforcement of fundamental rights or to do something or to correct something, and the order means the concerned officer did not implement the order passed by the Supreme Court, then what you have to do? To whom you have to approach? Again, you have to approach the Supreme Court of India only. So, if the order passed by the Supreme Court of India is not implemented by the concerned respondents, then you can move the Supreme Court of India by way of contempt case under Article 129. And the next one is review petition. Actually, we know that first we can file a petition before any court of law. Otherwise, if we are not satisfied with the passed by the single judge, then we have a provision to go for appeal. And after that, if we are not satisfied, before filing an appeal, we can file the review petition. And after that, if we are not satisfied, the order passed by even the High Court, then we have a liberty or the right to approach the Supreme Court. But in the Supreme Court, there is no appeal provision. There is no appeal provision. In the Supreme Court, there is only two provision. Means you cannot go for the appeal against the order passed by the Supreme Court for the first time also. You can go for the appeal against the order passed by the High Court to the Supreme Court, but you have no chance or right or liberty to go for appeal against the order passed by the Supreme Court, even by the single judge. Even by the single judge. You have only one chance, that is review petition. Review petition means the judge who passed the order will review the same. Will review the same under Article 137. Sometimes it may be decided even in the chambers also. You will not get, means either the party or the advocate will not given any chance for the arguments at the time of review petitions.
Sir, my sincere apologies to interrupt, sir. So the students are waiting to be admitted into the meeting, sir. Can you please admit them? They're trying to reach most of us to be admitted. My apologies, sir, to interrupt. Thank you.
Please carry on, sir. There is a huge queue is there, but it is not possible for interrupt the session. Please carry on, sir. That's sir. Please carry on.
Okay.
Yeah, please continue.
Then the next one is
we'll send the record. Sir, okay, 1 minute. We'll send the record for everyone. Don't worry about that. We'll send the record through email. Continue, sir. Please continue.
And the last one is curative petition. What is this curative petition? Why it was introduced in the Supreme Court? That is very interesting topic. Very first time Supreme Court in 1984, I feel, exactly the year I did not remember, but I can say the case, that is Rupa Ashok Hure. This is the divorce matter decided by the lower court. After that, it was placed before the High Court and aggrieved by the order passed by the High Court. Rupa Ashok Hure approached the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court also dismissed the case, and she filed the review petition. Then the review petition also not considered by the same judge. Then what to do? That is the highest court. There is no other option except to follow the order passed by the apex court, means Supreme Court, in the review petition or in the appeal or in the SLP. Then that Rupa Ashok Hure wrote a letter to the Chief Justice that if there is a wrong in the judgment passed by the single judge at the Supreme Court, then what we have to do, because there is no appeal provision in the Supreme Court as per the Constitution. Then the larger bench, means full bench of the Supreme Court, discussed on this letter. They themselves realized that because Supreme Court has power to correct its own judgment, then how can it be corrected? Then very first time in this case, Supreme Court introduced the curative petition. According to this curative petition means, if you are not satisfied with the order passed in the review, you cannot directly file the curative petition. Further, there is a procedure. First, you have to approach the senior advocate. means designated senior advocate. You have to get the certificate from him that where is the wrong in that judgment, under which provision of the law that judgment is wrong, why the larger bench should curative, means cure that judgment. It is a curative, means cure. It is not an appeal. The Supreme Court itself can cure its wrong. So that application is named as curative petition. So after obtaining the certificate from the senior designated advocate, by mentioning or by pointing out where the wrong in that judgment, under which provision of the law that judgment or that part can be treated as wrong, you can move the curative petition before the Supreme Court. And these curative petitions or the contempt petitions or the review petition shall be entertained by the Supreme Court under the jurisdiction of inherent or, that is known as what I told, plenary jurisdiction. Plenary jurisdiction. So this is the jurisdiction as well as different kinds of jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. So just to take 5 minutes break. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Now, before going to the interaction, I will explain you how the petitions shall be in the Supreme Court, means the SLPs, format of the SLPs, as well as the format of the review petitions. I will explain you. After that, we will go for the interaction. Please allow me for 5 minutes break to take a glass of water.
Yeah, please.
Please proceed, sir.
Okay, please. Yeah, please proceed, sir. Yeah, any questions? Please prepare the questions. Meanwhile, you can prepare the questions for ask Devi Rao sir. Any doubts? Any questions related to the topic what he explained?
Yes, sir. Means in the interaction section, they can ask me the doubts, whatever they have.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Please carry on.
Shall I continue, sir?
Sir, you can, sir. You can, please.
Okay, sir. So
please proceed, sir.
Now I will show you how the format of the Supreme Court related to the special leave petition. You see, the format of the special leave petition shall be like this. Means before filing, you have to do this much process to file the SLP. You have to bind it like this. You have to paste the papers like this. Everything you have to do, and you have to make just like as this book. Then only it will be numbered. Otherwise, your petition will be under defects, and no number, original number will be given. Only your petition will be kept with the registry with the diary number only. So first you have to prepare this. Next, what you have to do means you have to place the index paper. In the index, you have to write very clearly in which paper you have to place which one. It is very essential. And in the second paper, that is in the index, serial number is there, particulars are there, page numbers are there. First, I have placed that office report and limitation. Why? Because the petition, there is some delay in filing of this SLP. So, if there is any delay, then you have to file the limitation petition. If the limitation is condoned, the delay is condoned in that limitation petition, then only the court will permit you to submit the arguments in the special leave petition. If the delay is not condoned, then the SLP or any appeal will not be here by the Supreme Court. Next one, synopsis and list of dates. Listing pro forma. Listing pro forma is available in any stationery. You can purchase it and you have to fill it and you have to place it as the item 2. And the third one is synopsis and the list of dates. You have to mention very clearly and you have to mention the page also. Next, the impugned order. Which order you are going to challenge before the Supreme Court? Means the order passed by the High Court, or along with the certificate, or if it is the SLP, you need not file the certificate by the High Court, but you have to file the impugned order, that which you are going to challenge before the Supreme Court by way of special leave petition. And the next one is special leave petition with the affidavit. And the next one, annexures. And the next one is IA. If you are seeking any interim direction or interim stay against the order passed by the Supreme Court in that SLP, you have to file the IA also. Like that, you have to prepare the SLPs. And in that SLP, grounds are very important. Legal provisions are very important. Cause of action is very important. And cause title is also very much important. So all these you have to know before you start your practice at the Supreme Court. Then only you can survive as a Supreme Court advocate. Otherwise, if you don't know the procedure and practice related to this filing as well as related to the arguments, related to the appearance, then you cannot survive as the advocate of the Supreme Court. So this is that you have to mention very clearly. And what is the prayer you have to write? If you don't require any interim relief, you have to mention that the interim relief is nil. As well as you have to mention very clear grounds, and you have to mention the questionnaire of law. Questionnaire of the law means the appeal means it is against the order passed by the judge. Means where is the wrong done by that concerned judge? How can you say that that is the wrong done by the concerned judge? You have to mention very clearly in the questionnaire of law. And Supreme Court will go through the grounds as well as the legal provisions as well as the questionnaire of law before allowing that SLP. Once the SLP is allowed, then the Supreme Court will not hear the rest of the case under the number of SLP. That SLP will be turned as either the civil appeal, and civil appeal number will be given to you, and the rest of the case will be heard by the Supreme Court under the number of civil appeal. So this is the format of the special leave petition, that if anybody want to file it before the Supreme Court, as well as if the order passed by the Supreme Court and your case is dismissed by the Supreme Court in the SLP, you can file the review petition also. The review petition shall be like this. In this review petition, first you have to prepare the review petition also like this. You have to bind it, and you have to prepare like this, and you have to place it before the registry. Then you have to, the procedure shall be like this. First you have to file that review petition as well as the affidavit. After that, the annexures, and whatever the annexures you have forgot to place along with the SLP, you can place the same before the review petition, but you cannot place the new annexures at the time of filing the review petitions. Those are not allowed. If unfortunately or due to some technical error, you forgot to place some of the annexures at the time of filing the SLP, you are liberty to file the same along with the review petitions. And even in the review petition also, you have to mention the index as well as the synopsis, list of dates, and legal provisions, and questionnaire of law, and the grounds, and why it is to be revised. Then, according to the interest of the judge, the review petition may be decided in the chamber or in the open court. But you cannot question if the review petition decided in the chamber. So, like that, you have to prepare the review petition. If any one of you ask this format, I will send the same to my teacher, Dr. Gali Vinod Kumar Garu. You can take the same from him just for your records and to keep it for your further needs. Now, this is, as of now, I already explained you about the AOR examination known as the Advocate on Record examination, as well as I explained you about the various petitions which can be moved before the Supreme Court. I explained you about the jurisdiction and different kinds, and I explained you about the formats of the SLP as well as the review petitions that which are going to be filed before the Supreme Court. Now it is the interaction. You can ask any questions if you have any doubts.
Kindly proceed. Kindly proceed. Anybody? And sir will send all the documents to my mail, and I will forward to all of you. Sir, how to file the online petitions?
How to file the sir?
Online petition.
Online petition. Okay, actually online petition means you can file the online petition if it is known as e-filing by two ways.
Yeah.
You yourself can file the petition as party in person. Otherwise, you can file the same petition through the advocate. So, Supreme Court is providing one blog known as e-filing. First, if you click it, it will ask you as either you are filing as a party in person or through the advocate. If you are going through the advocate, then the rest of the thing will be taken care by the advocate, and he will follow accordingly the guidelines of the Supreme Court. If you are filing as a party in person, first you have to write a letter to the registry regarding your ability that you can argue the matter. What is the matter? What is the prayer? What is your eligibility to argue the matter before the Supreme Court? whether you have the complete eligibility to argue the matter before the judges of the Supreme Court or before the Supreme Court will be decided by a committee. Then the committee will permit you to file the SLP or the appeals. If you get the permission from the concerned committee, you can proceed accordingly. First, you can file the petitions. The entire procedure will be directed by the Supreme Court e-filing to you. What you have to do, you have to keep the signatures, and you have to keep all the formats in PDF, and you have to make it page numbers, and you have to do everything will be directed by the Supreme Court in that e-filing procedure. Except the wakalat, you have to do everything which the advocate on record will do for his petitioner. Then your name, your application will be numbered. If there are any defects, the defects will be mentioned again. You have to cure it. And after curing all the defects, your case will be numbered and you will be permitted to argue as party in person. This is the procedure of the e-filing.
Next, what is the difference between advocate on record and advocate of the Supreme Court?
Yeah, already I told you. The advocate who passed LLB and who cleared the All India Bar Examination and who enrolled with the Bar Council will be called or will be treated as the advocate. He can do the arguments and he can do the practice at any court of India except the Supreme Court. If that advocate wants to start his practice in the Supreme Court of India, he must clear the advocate on record examination. No other advocate, either the senior advocate or the other advocates, can file the petitions or applications before the Supreme Court of India other than the advocate on record. But any advocate can argue the matter, either the senior advocate or other advocate, with the consent of the advocate on record.
So what about the fees, sir? Fee structure. Fee structure.
On record of the Supreme Court.
Fee structure, sir. Tell the fee structure. What is the fee? How to pay the fee, and what is the procedure for payments?
Actually, the fees means, sir, there is some means already it is there clearly for which court, for which case, how much fee they have to pay. That is known as court fee. For the civil court, how much is the fee, and for the criminal court, the court fee of the criminal courts are very less than the court fee of the civil cases. Civil cases means you have to deposit at least 10% of the entire amount that you are seeking in the relief as a deposit with the civil courts. For criminal courts, the fees is very less, as well as whether coming to the Supreme Court, in the Supreme Court, only in the bail petitions or as a surety, you have to deposit the huge amount. Otherwise, in the writ petitions or in the public interest litigations or in the appeals, you need not deposit. Because already whatever the deposits you have done, already you will do with the previous courts. So you need not do any special deposits with the Supreme Court other than the court fee.
Sorry, there is a lot of this one last question of myself. So there is a notion is that lakh for only one appearance, they will take 1 lakh, more than 1 lakh fee in the Supreme Court. So for single appeal, somebody is taking 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs. Is it possible for a common man to get the remedy, sir, from the Supreme Court?
Actually, sir, it is means according to the Bar Council rules, there is some specific means prescribed fee for the advocates. But actually, it is only for filing, not for the appearances. So appearances means there shall be the flight charges as well as the accommodation charges as well as the reputation charges as well as the medicines charges also. Means if the senior advocate comes to the High Court, means he is sacrificing his entire soul for you. because maybe he means sometimes for the first time he may face the heart attack, but if it is necessary, he will come to the court to appear on behalf of you, and he may face something. So at that time, he is ready to sacrifice his life for you through his appearance. So we cannot cost his life in lakhs of rupees. So some advocates will charge high amount and some advocates will charge a low amount. That is depends based on their reputation. But here, no one can question the same until unless there shall be some amendment in the rules of the Bar Council of India.
Good evening, sir. My name is Raghav. So regarding the AOR exam, is there any age limit or a geographical limit or a residency limit? So, and apart from that, what is your opinion on regional benches of Supreme Court across the country?
Yeah, actually for this advocate on record examination, there is no age limit. But you can attempt the AOR examination only for 3 times. If you did not clear the AOR examination within these 3 attempts, you never can be treated as advocate on record in your entire life. So only you will get 3 attempts to clear the advocate on record examination. But however, there is a liberty to you. As I told you, for every paper you have to get 50% of the marks and the aggregate is 60%. So you have to get 240 marks, more than 240 marks out of 400. But if you get 50% in all the examination, all the papers, but you fail to get an aggregate of 60%, then you will be provided as one chance to appear before the senior advocate. Then the senior advocate will give you one chance to write the examination immediately within 1 month as a special candidate. If you get the aggregate in that examination, means more than 60%, then you will be treated as the advocate on record and you need not wait till the next academic year. But there is no age limit to write the AOR examination.
I heard there is a geographical limit. You have to be within the 10-kilometer radius or 10-mile radius of Supreme Court.
You mean, sir, your voice is not clear. Can you repeat, please?
The candidate has to be within the 10-mile radius of Supreme Court. Residence of the candidate should be within the 10 miles of Supreme Court.
No, actually, once you become as the advocate on record, you must be stay within 16 kilometers. Within 16 kilometers from the Supreme Court. Why? Because means in some of the urgency cases, urgent matters, if the Supreme Court calls you, it will take long time to reach the Supreme Court. So it is the rule of the Supreme Court. Once you become as the advocate on record, you must be in the radius of 16 kilometers from the Supreme Court.
Thank you, sir. I was asking about the regional benches of Supreme Court across India. Do you have any opinion on that?
As of now, there are no benches for the Supreme Court, and there is only one Supreme Court at Delhi, but there is a demand for the benches of the Supreme Court, one at South and another one at Calcutta and one more at Mumbai. But I think it is a long procedure. It has to be approved by the Union of India, as well as they have to sanction the money for the construction of the benches. Like that, it is a very big procedure. I cannot say anything about that as of now.
Good evening, sir. It's my pleasure to talk to you, sir. Sir, could you explain about fourth paper, sir, once again? Fourth paper.
Sorry, sir.
fourth paper in your exam, sir.
Fourth paper of the AOR examination you required.
Yeah, two or three lines about that, sir.
Yes, that is related to leading cases. Leading cases means if your name confirmed to appear the advocate on record examination along with the hall ticket, the Supreme Court registry will provide you the list of leading cases. Means nearly they will give you the 40 leading cases, and out of that only 5 cases will be given in that question paper, and each case carries 20 marks. And also you will provide the books also for this paper, that is the leading cases. If you want to answer, if you want to ask any detailed judgment of the Supreme Court while you are writing the examination in the examination hall, they will provide you the entire judgment of the Supreme Court related to that leading cases. You can refer that judgment in the examination hall and you can write. Means what type of answer you have to write means what are the arguments of the other side, what are the arguments of the petitioner, and what are the points observed by the court, and what are the legal points, and what is the outcome of the judgment. That you have to write, because the judgment contains many pages, hundreds of pages. So even if they provide you the judgment copy, it is very difficult to you to answer within that given time.
Even before Supreme Court.
Any questions? Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
And I regarding regional benches, I want to explain some, message to you, all of you. So there is a lot of demand from regional benches, from northeast states and from south, from even middle Bombay, middle India, and four or five parts of the India. There is a demand is there, even including northern state. So why only Supreme Court is required? Already there is a provision is there, only is that there is a Supreme Court should stay, that the seat should be there at Delhi. But you can if CJ permits, if CJ permits, hello, are you listening? Are you listening my words?
Sir,
Chandu, Chandu, tell me. Chandu, you are on the line. Hello.
sir, can a member of Supreme Court Bar Association who is not advocate on records file a petition before Supreme Court?
No, they cannot file, because only the advocate on record can file. Even the senior advocate also cannot file in his name other than the advocate on record. If you are a member of bar, you will be treated as non-advocate on record. But you cannot file, but you can appear and argue with the consent of the advocate on record.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, what is the relevance of AOR when you are having online filing of online and e-filing of applications?
You see, the online filing of the means that is also acceptable only by the advocate on records if the petitioner files through advocate. Party in person means he can file just for himself, but he cannot file for others. So that is the difference between the advocate on record. Even though there is the e-filing procedure, other advocates cannot file, because when you choose the column of that advocate, the Supreme Court registry through e-filing will ask you to enter the code of advocate on record. That code will be provided to you by the registry of the Supreme Court.
Thank you, sir.
What is that?
Sir, quick question. This is Jacob.
Sorry,
DV Rao garu.
Hello.
Quick question.
Chapandi.
Chapandi. Yeah.
The advocate on record has to be necessarily within the radius of 16 kilometers. That's a good move or initiative from the Supreme Court organization, I should say. But how it is possible for any advocate to be within the 16-kilometer radius when it comes to the national agenda, sir?
Sir, actually, Supreme Court advocate on record means he is the staff of the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So, actually, even though the Supreme Court can take the action against the advocate on record without the consent of the Bar Council of India, even though he is the advocate, because Supreme Court will treat the advocate on record as the staff. So, once you become the advocate, you will submit your affidavit along with the means when you clear the examination, you must submit one affidavit to the Supreme Court that you will comply and you will obey by the rules and regulations of the Supreme Court. So that is the first rule mentioned by the Supreme Court, that every advocate on record must be in 16 kilometers of the radius from the Supreme Court. So if sometimes if there is any problem, if you shift to your house, you have to inform to the registry and you have to get the permission from the registry that on so and so ground I am unable to stay within the radius of 16 kilometers for some time, and kindly grant the permission after this period or after these many months or these many days, I will come back and will inform you the same. Then Supreme Court registry will permit you.
In that case, so the waiver of being within the 16-kilometer radius is granted by the Supreme Court organization, and he can stay outside for how long? Will he be permitted?
There is no specific time is there, and means you see, if your mother is staying in some other house and nobody is, means there must be some specific ground to get the permission from the registry. Otherwise, there is some problem in your house and you cannot stay in that area. So at that time you have to go. Then you have to provide the alternative in your place. Because if you are unable to come, appear before the Supreme Court on the call from the registry, then on behalf of you, somebody will appear who is within the radius of 16 kilometers. Like that, you have to give a representation to the registry of the Supreme Court and you can obtain the permission from the registry.
So assignment is possible.
Sir,
that
one more.
I can delegate somebody else to be advocate on record in my place.
No, actually, you have the juniors in your office. That is not to sign as an advocate on record. That is to communicate the same to you. In the case, if you are unable to appear on behalf of you, your junior will be permitted to mention something before the registry or before the judges in the court on behalf of you, just for the adjournment or for the something, well, that is the passovers or for something else like that. So for that purpose, your juniors will be permitted.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Sir, my question, sir, I am adding one question. If e-filing are permitted by the Supreme Court, where is the necessary for 16 kilometers staying, sir, jurisdiction of the Supreme Court?
No,
Anybody can file any from any.
Now the e-filing is allowing only because of the COVID-19 pandemic. If once the courts started as regular, then this e-filing will not be allowed. The advocates who are there already they have established their offices within the 16 kilometers of radius from the Supreme Court. So once the regular courts started functioning, then this e-filing will be stopped automatically.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. Anybody? Any question? Any questions? No questions.
Shall I leave, sir?
No, sir. Finally, I want to tell you, just I want to explain about the regional benches, need of regional benches. I already wrote an article in Supreme Court Law Journal about the need of the Supreme Court benches. So actually, friends, there is a provision is there under Article 130 of this Constitution of India. There is the provision is that only the Supreme Court seat should be there at Delhi, but there is no mention about the benches. If Supreme Court CJ permits, he can establish, the government of India can establish any regional benches for that. But amendment power should not be given in the CJ, in the hands of the CJ. If Supreme Court CJ permits it's only, then they will allow. But no Supreme Court CJ is not ready to share his powers to the entire regional centers, because they are become a monarch. Supreme Court has become a monarch to control the entire cases. It was more than 3 lakhs cases are pending in the Supreme Court. So it takes more than 100 years. So is it a justification for the people who are suffering lot in the whole of India? So it is so expensive also. For people those who are from staying Madura, Kerala and Jammu Kashmir, and the people who are in the northeastern states. Oh, it is so expensive to come there and stay there, and for payments, fee payments of the Supreme Court, High Courts advocates are very high. So these are the causes are there for why Supreme Court is not permitting, sir, regarding the establishment of the regional benches. Because it is a motto of the Supreme Court is give the speedy justice for all. Because of this, not establishment of the regional benches, the motto itself failing. So what is your explain, sir? What is your opinion on this?
Actually, in fact, it is
Or they?
somebody is calling.
Somebody, please stop the phone. Stop the phone, please.
Okay, sir. Somebody called. Actually, I don't know who called. So sorry. Actually, sir, it is out of my purview, because actually I can share my opinion, but I am helpless to do anything in this regard. Because first one, it is to be decided by the Union of India, as well as it is to be decided by the entire court of the Supreme Court. Actually, when this type of matters placed before the larger bench n number of times by way of public interest litigation, as well as by way of the representation by many persons. But the thing, actually, why the court is not considering the same means, first one, they are telling that there is the Supreme Court legal authority to help the poor. If anybody approach the Supreme Court legal authority, the Supreme Court legal authority will argue the matters, will provide the advocates to the concerned poor people on free of cost. As well as the legal authority is providing the traveling expenditure also to the poor to the Supreme Court. As well as the Supreme Court is permitting to file the cases as party in persons also. So if any educated persons are there, instead of approaching the advocates, they can file the cases on behalf of them. So as well as if any poor persons are there, they can write to the Supreme Court legal authority to get the lawyer services on free of cost. As well as if their appearance is required, they will get the and they will provide the traveling expenditure as well as accommodation and everything in Delhi by the legal services authority. So I feel that the larger bench is not considering for the circuit benches of the Supreme Court at different places.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. For wonderful presentation of your lecture. So many issues we learned. Being a teacher of the law, I also learned so much of procedural law of the Supreme Court and examinations and different petitions. So these are the very important aspects of the Supreme Court procedure and practice, sir. I thank you so much for sparing more than 1.5 hours online and sharing your views. An excellent presentation made by you, sir. I thank you. I invite next time also. I thank you on behalf of the Department of Law and all the participants of this webinar. Now we have successfully conducted 3 days lower court procedure, high court procedure, and Supreme Court procedure. And also I thank, because of in the last minute you accepted, because last minute Nitin Meshram has left, but within the short time you accepted my request. I so much of thankful for you being my even you are my student, but you are a Supreme Court advocate. You're maybe you're in on record advocate there, but it is your time is very valuable. So I thank sir once again on behalf of the Department of Law, and as also all the participants who are from different parts of the Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, even from some law college students from Tamil Nadu. So different parts of the southern India. These are the participants are there. More than 2,000 participants are registered in this conference. So all are I am going to give e-certificates for everybody. So through, don't worry about. I am also sending the record to everybody. Those are because of the technical problems, some of the not not yet we are on the line. But even though we will provide the certificates, even we will provide the record, whatever the record by the High Court and lower court as well as the Supreme Court processor. So I thank you so much for once again Dr. D.V. Rao garu for sparing your valuable time and valuable lecture. Thank you
so much, sir. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank
All
you
of
very
you,
much for
thank
the
you.
opportunity given, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All of you, good night. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir, Vinod Kumar sir and team. God bless you all.